Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of B2B Courtship, where we give you the specifics behind building digital relationships, because whether we like it or not, Mindshare leads to Marketshare. Today we're talking about Michelle. It was her first day at her first internship. She had wiped her clammy hands on her pants for the fifth time in 10 minutes. It took all of her willpower to stay seated and keep her breakfast in her stomach, which, unfortunately, felt like it was doing Olympic-level gymnastics. Either way, she was here, and there was a frowning lady that had to be the same age as her grandmother walking right towards her. If this was her boss for the summer, then she was in for a rough, anxiety-filled ride. Michelle had accepted her fate when a woman ran up to the older woman, whispered quietly, and started rushing towards her. "Hi, my name is Sydney," said the beautiful woman who had red hair just like her own and a voice filled with kindness. Michelle felt a wave of relief wash over her. Maybe this internship wouldn't be so bad after all. This is the horn and the halo effect. We've got two sides of the same coin here. The bias states that we tend to form our overall impression of someone based on how we view their individual characteristics. The halo part says that if one thing is positive, then everything must be positive. The horn part says that if one thing is negative, then everything must be negative. And there's usually no evidence besides our opinions to support them, to support this bias and these viewpoints of these characteristics. Now, these effects are what we call cognitive biases. A cognitive bias is an error in the thinking based on our twisted view of reality. That's not the dictionary term, but that's really what it is. These effects were initially observed as a phenomenon in 1920 by psychologist Edward Thorndike. Thorndike did an experiment where he asked military officers to rate their recruits based on nothing. These officers had only seen the recruits coming to the camp, but hadn't spoken to them at all. The recruits who were taller and more attractive were rated with higher potential, and those who were the opposite were rated with lower potential. Essentially, unrelated positive perceived traits influence their impressions. The impact of these biases is multiplied by the primacy effect, which states that the first impression of someone or something is more important than all the impressions following. So, our biases screw with how we view things, and then our brain forces us to see those things repeatedly through the original screw's lens. Pretty awesome, right? Now, these effects aren't isolated to human interactions. We have the same biases in our views of companies. The difference, though, is that our first impression isn't normally directly with the company. We might run across a review, someone speaking about the company in the Slack channel, a recommendation for or against the company on Reddit. The effect is the same. A positive or negative quality of that impression forms the whole perception of that company. This presents a unique challenge for businesses trying to build strong brands. While we can't control every perception of our brand, understanding these biases means that we can't afford to ignore them. I always say that if we're not actively influencing our brand perception, someone else is. So like I said, a lot of this is out of our control, but we can still plant seeds out in the world. Here's how I'm going to use the halo and horn effect to my advantage. The core of my plan lies in positive associations. I want my name, my company, Demandable, the community I'm trying to build, B2B Courtship, floating around the internet in as many places as possible, connected to something positive and helpful. Always helpful, always credible, and hopefully shared by somebody else. So the first way I'm going to do that is I'm going to pitch to Hero, which is called Help a Reporter Out. Hero is a centralized database of journalists and reporters asking questions or seeking quotes for stories they're working on, from huge companies like Forbes and Wall Street all the way down to our local news station. It works as a series of pitches. For free, you get 10 pitches a month with very paid plan from $19 to $149 a month. We're not guaranteed a quote, of course, but each one is a nod towards our credibility. Consider this. We max out our 10 pitches a month. We get four quotes per year. One of those 4 quotes is from Bloomberg, Wall Street Journal, or some other heavyweight. Boom. On our website goes featured in Bloomberg, featured in Wall Street Journal. And the new person comes to our website, oh wow, Demandable, or your company name, was featured in Bloomberg. That's legit. The halo effect goes into work. So, Hero, or Help a Reporter Out, is now part of connectively.us. But if you search it, it'll show up right on top. Now, all of us can spend an hour or two a month writing answers to reporter questions for the chance of the badge of credibility. Not to mention the SEO juice when the reporters link back to our website when they quote us. The next way we're going to take advantage of the halo effect is the public reviews. Not the easily forged public reviews that you put on websites that most people glaze over anyway. I'm asking each person that I work with that has a great experience to post a review for me publicly on my LinkedIn profile. Why? Authenticity. It's a public social review attached to their LinkedIn profile that technically reflects back on their own reputation. The impact is massively different than a quote on our website. I have one so far with a few pending. I do a lot of white label work, so I can't request reviews from everybody, but over time, this builds itself up to its own authority asset by itself. My long-term strategy is Clutch reviews. Now, Clutch has two problems. First, it's a pay-to-play platform. Second, the time needed to actually give a review from your clients. Anyone can spend the right amount of money and get a badge for top X and Y area. I really don't think I'm fooling anyone in the B2B space because I don't know about the Clutch game. But what is valuable is the review. And like I said, the issue there is that it takes 15 to 20 minutes for someone to give one. That's a lot of effort on my client's end. How I'll play this game is to pay my clients like $100 for their time and have them post a review. I respect their time and they're more likely to complete the review. The next one is a tactic I'm a bit on the fence about, but I've seen it work well for other businesses. It involves sending out an announcement to my email list or sending a press release whenever I land a new client. This announcement would highlight three things: who the client is, the challenge they're facing, and why they chose to work with me. Now, I'm hesitant about this approach for a couple of reasons. First, it feels a bit self-serving. Like, hey, I'm giving myself a high five. But on the other hand, it can genuinely help someone else. People on my email list might see themselves in that new client and say, and seeing that they're facing a similar challenge or have a similar reason for picking a partner. So how does this tie into the halo effect? So by showcasing successful clients, I'm creating positive associations with my brand. It subtly reinforces my credibility and my expertise. People might think, hey, if they helped X company achieve Y, maybe they can help me too. But like I said, I'm holding off on this tactic until I built a solid foundation of valuable content and a little bit of that flywheel going. Because I want to lead with helpfulness and establish myself as a trusted resource before just promoting and, like I said, giving myself a high five. Okay, so my biggest investment in the halo effect is going to be B2B courtship. I say this almost every podcast, but I'm going to talk about it again. It's the content arm of my business. We're cranking out weekly content in four main formats. First, we're going to do the podcast. You listen to one or you're reading one right now. We dig deep into a specific topic and then show you how you can use it and hopefully give that help there. My second is going to be the YouTube channel. I record the podcast on video, and so I release it on the YouTube so it can sit there and grow for people searching for things. Newsletter, we're summarizing the topic so people can scan while they're still getting the main points. And then the blog, we put the full transcript and blog form on the website so folks who like to read can reread and consume it. B2B courtship is my long game. It's the foundation of my content marketing, and I'm building it from the ground up. I'm starting with an audience of zero, no established presence, no fancy platform. It's just me. I'm in this for the long haul. I'm focused on creating a lower audience of true peers, people who are interested, people who are in the trenches, working hard to build their brands. This is a pretty niche topic, and I'm intentionally steering away from the usual buzzwords like lead generation and revenue growth. Don't get me wrong, all those things are important. But I believe that building genuine mindshare comes first. It's about establishing trust and credibility before publishing and pushing for sales. As I always say, mindshare leads to market share. Now, here's how this ties into the halo effect. By consistently producing high quality content and sharing it across different platforms, I'm creating multiple opportunities for people to have a positive first impression. Someone might discover my podcast and check out my YouTube channel and maybe even subscribe to my newsletter. Each interaction reinforces the positive impression, building the halo effect around my brand. It's like this. Great content leads to a great first impression, and thanks to the primacy effect, that first impression influences every other interaction that follows. So when someone sees my content again, they'll remember the positive experience they had the first time and be more likely to engage, share, and recommend. It creates a powerful loop that reinforces the good feelings about my brand. So that's the power of B2B courtship. It's my way of strategically building mindshare, cultivating positive associations, and ultimately creating a halo effect that attracts and retains an audience, probably clients and sales. So, if you found this valuable, please subscribe to B2B Courtship however you want to, on the blog, the YouTube, the email, what have you. Let me know your thoughts, and because it really helps to let me know that I'm telling you the right thing and helping you all out. So that's all, folks. Remember, I've said it multiple times in this podcast, but really, mindshare leads to market share. Until next time, it's Doug Dots. This has been B2B Courtship.